Okay, today we're going to disassemble a 1911. This is a Rock Island Armory. I don't remember the model of this one, but we're just going to take this apart and clean it. If you want to see any more videos like this on other firearms or anything, please let me know and I can dive into them. So the firearm is clear. So what we're going to start with, I like to start with my hammer back. So I'll go ahead and lock the safety on here. That way the slide cannot be pulled. The hammer cannot be pulled, the trigger pulled and everything like that. The hammer cannot fall. So I'll go ahead and put the safety on. That locks the slide up here. So I'm going to refer this left side of the firearm and right side of the firearm. Up here, I'm going to depress your plunger up here. Make sure I'm in camera here. And I'm going to rotate your barrel bushing to the right of the firearm. That's going to release this plunger. Let me get this on camera. So release the plunger. Go ahead and I pull out my recoil spring already. That's just the way I do it. Then I rotate the bushing all the way to the opposite side, to the left side, and go ahead and pull that right out. There's a little notch on this. Actually goes inside the slide. I don't know if you can see that. You should be able to. That's it. It rides, and there's a groove in here that goes around the barrel. I just like to go ahead and get this out of the way. And the only reason why I go ahead and take my recoil spring out, it's just one less part I have to deal with when taking the slide off itself. Go ahead and take the safety off. As you can see right here, I take the safety off. It gives me complete manipulation over the firearm here. This is going to be your slide release, your slide lock. There's a little, there's two notches that are cut into the slide here. This is going to be the lock that, this is going to be the notch that would say the firearm's empty, I mean like empty magazine or whatever. There's the second notch is going to be the little notch here. I'll go ahead and pop this out right here by pushing this from the other side. Pushing this little ball detent here. Well, not a detent, but the little ball. I'll go ahead and push this right out by keeping this aligned on this side. Push this right out. There is a detent that's a spring and a detent that's on both sides here of this that makes your safety work and will hold this in place to where it doesn't like fall loose. Then I'll go ahead and push the slide right off here. Be wary to catch your recoil spring guide. Go and take that off here. Now from here, you want to take, this is going to be what the slide lock, what actually holds this together, your bushing. This actually, when this is inside the firearm here, this is what's going to hold the whole firearm together here. So I'm going to make sure this is pushed down to where it's even. Well, not like even, but you're going to push this down flush. And then this from here, unlock the barrel. This will come right out. So there's your barrel. Now I have a field stripped slide. We can go back here, take the firearm pin out and everything like that. I'm not doing a detailed cleaning. If you want to see that though, please let me know and I will gladly do it for you. But I'm just going to do just a basic field strip of the slide. Frame on the other hand, I will go ahead and do all the rest of this. So where I like to start on this, I will go ahead and push out this pin here. It's going to be your mainspring housing here. I'll go ahead and push that out here. Let me grab my vise block real quick. Sorry, I got all my punches on my block. Well, not all of them, but yeah. So go ahead and take this off. And then grab the right punch here. Well, I'll go ahead and start it with this one. I always try to start it with a roll pin punch just because there is a groove. If my camera would focus, there is a pinhole. Well, not a hole, but there is a dimple in that pin there. That roll pin, the roll pin punch, the little nipple on this will ride in and it just makes it a little easier to get out. Get a little more surface area there to touch. So I'm gonna put that to the side. I won't need a hammer for this anymore. Now there is gonna be spring tension on this, being this is your mainspring housing. This is what operates the firearm, like by resetting the hammer and everything. So my punch, as you can see, is kind of stuck in here right now. I'm just gonna push up on this right here. This is gonna come right out with a little force. So as you can see, spring pressure released. I can go ahead and pull this out the rest of the way. Now with your mainspring housing, you can see this little retaining pin here. You can push this out. It is kind of a pain to get back in if you don't have the proper tools or, well, the know-how. If you were to take this out, there's the spring that's actually in here is a really long, heavy spring that it's got another plunger in here that if you take this out, be sure to cover this with your finger or do it on the table, because this will shoot out and you will lose it if you're not careful. Putting it back in, I just drive a punch down, kind of use like the side of the table to push against, and then I'll push the pin in from there. But I'm not doing that. If you want to see it, let me know and I'll gladly do one of these. From here, of course, you have everything else. From here, where I would go, what I do, I go ahead and come over on this right side beam. I have the ambi safeties here. I'll go ahead and take this right side off. You're just gonna pull it up and wiggle it. And then it will release on the inside in here. Sometimes I'll get a little pry tool between this, but shouldn't need it. Should just come right off here. Well, of course, when I put the camera on, it doesn't want to work. So, okay. So all I've got here, this is nothing special. This was a hammer spring that I bent out. This I just push right between here. It's not going to mar or anything. You don't need to do this. It should just come right out. But a lot of times it's tight, being it's kind of dirty. So as you've seen there, this just pops right out. Now with the ambi safety, there is the pin that holds in your disconnector. When it pushes through here, there's a notch this rides in. But as long as you get that out of that notch, it'll come right out. So now I go to the other side. Keep pressure on your grip safety here. I'm not in camera again. Keep pressure on your grip safety here. There's another spring back here. And then from here, you want to come to the left side of the firearm with your main safety here. Now remember I told you there is the spring and detents here. There's one on this side and one on this side. They are connected inside of this housing here. What I do, just wiggle this out very gently and you'll see it kind of pop out. Let me see if I can get the camera in focus here. See how it kind of popped out right there, that right here? And then this will just slide out of that hole. Okay, and the fat knob on here is what's going to stop your trigger and everything. The back one is just like the hinge pin. So put that to the side. Now from here and this back piece here is what's going to hold in your grip safety. So I'm going to set this down here. I'll get to that in a minute. Now when the ambi safety is locked together, there's a notch cut in the middle of this pin. That way when these fit together, they are like that on the inside, holding in your grip safety. So just something, the more you know. All right, so now what happens, see if I can get this back in here. Take grip safety out. Yep. So now you have your hammer. You can pull the trigger forward or back, and this is going to drop the hammer up. Your hammer strut, I'll go ahead and get that out of the way. This is, I don't remember the correct terminology for this, but this is going to be your flat mainspring. You have your mainspring and your mainspring housing, and this is what's going to do the sear, the trigger weight, and grip safety. As you can see, mine does need a good bit of cleaning here, so That's why we're doing the video. Now, on this side, you don't need a punch. I'm just going to use the hammer spring that I have, I told you about earlier. There's 2 pins. This one right here, a kind of shiny one, and this one right here. You're going to push these out. They go left to right. So I'm going to push this one out, see if I can keep it in camera. If I can get my light right, you can see that pin coming out. Take that pin out. These are under no spring tension, nothing. They just kind of fall out. I can even do this and it will come out. So I kind of got it started there. And just pull this right out. Of course, be careful. As you just seen, you can lose parts. The big pin is it's not hard to get these mixed up, or it's not difficult. You will not get these mixed up at all. This is going to be what holds your hammer in, the big pin. The small pin here is what's going to hold your sear and disconnect in. Now you get these 2 pins out, hammer and strut will come right out. And then, as you can see in here, let me get this tool here. This is going to be your disconnect. This thing I'm riding up here. And then this up here is going to be your sear. Let's see if I can get a good view of that. Yep. As you can see, the sear has a notch cut in the middle of it to let the disconnect kind of ride free in it. That's your disconnect here. And I'll pull these out and I'll show you a better view. Now, what I do, I'll just turn it over and these will fall right out. Okay. In fact, what I was saying about that detent, the detent spring for your safety and your slide lock here, this will just pull out. You don't want to lose this, but it is connected on both ends to the spring here. Okay, just put that to the side as well. There's not really much cleaning you can do in here. If you want to put like a pipe cleaner in there, you can, but I normally just blow it out. I mean, there's no real dirt that gets in there anyway that I've seen. Now, I guess if you don't clean your firearms a lot, I guess you could have some carbon buildup in there, but probably won't need that much, or won't be that much. This is going to be your ejector and everything, so it makes the brass fly out, and everything like that. Now, what I'm going to do here, you want to get a small flat blade screwdriver. I'm going to take the trigger out here. You got to take your magazine release out first. Okay, magazine release is what's going to hold in your trigger bar and your trigger. So go into the right side of the firearm. You can see this flat blade screwdriver hole right here. What did I do with it? Oh, there it is. So this is your screw right here. This is going to be your magazine release. As you can see, I'm pushing it from the left side. I'm just pushing it forward. You can see it kind of ride up. What you're going to do here, you're going to take this flat blade screwdriver. You're going to push up on the magazine release about halfway. From here, you'll be able to turn this about 90 degrees to the left, and that will unlock your magazine release. It's not like a screw. All you're going to do, see how it's got this channel in here? See if I can get the camera. See how it's got the channel? See how it's got this channel here? What happens is when you put this into the firearm, what you're going to do when you turn it to the right, it's going to give you the spring tension. See that? To take it out of the firearm is when you're going to turn it to the left, and it's going to lock in the channel for you to take it out. So that's that. Now then, from here, your trigger is going to be loose. Again, you can see it back here. It's going to be your trigger bar right here. Kind of hard to get the light. It's going to be your trigger bar. And you can just reach in here and pull it out, but what I like to do, I just dump it over, kind of give it a little push from the front here, and then you can grab it right out. Your trigger bar and your actual trigger face. So a lot of 1911's triggers, you'll have an adjustment screw that's inside here. This one does not, being it's just a standard trigger and trigger bar. So, yep. So, and then you have a completely disassembled frame other than taking the grips off and your grip screw bushings and everything like that. So, just going to clean this up real quick and I will make a reassembly video on my channel. Thanks for watching. You have a good day. If there's any questions or anything you have, please leave it down in the comments and I will gladly answer them or shoot another video. Y'all have a good day.